And here's another question I got about you being torn, right?
Mm,
Because we're men and we're prideful individuals, but you and I, we're creators. So
right.
in that creative space, you have to be vulnerable.
Very.
And we've talked about you telling stories in your music, you being vulnerable. How and in torn, you in your feelings a little bit, and not in a bad way. You just expressing your feelings. Where
Yeah.
do you get that courage to go into that space, and did music help you be more comfortable expressing yourself that way?
I mean, yeah, basically. Music is gave me an outlet because if you know me, I can't really express my feelings. I've never been a type, and that's what's crazy about it. You would think hearing my music, like, oh, this is a guy that's in touch with his feelings, but nah, I just clearly I can only get my feelings out in a rhyming form. But honestly, nah, man. I really not in touch with my feelings, and so I had a lot of things bottled up, and so the music just really gives me an outlet. And it's kind of cliche, like typical cliche answer, but it's really the truth. I really have a lot of feelings and things I've put on my back and on my shoulder. So it's just like, hey, this really gives me a chance to express my side because I keep quiet about a lot. Like I'm the type of guy to just be like, man, whatever, and leave it alone. But this gives me the outlet to let people know how I felt about a situation or let things. And it's not like jab to nobody in particular, but certain things people know. You just know when you hear certain things. If you've been through it with me, you know. So yeah, man. Like
You know,
I guess
one
I
thing one thing I don't think that people understand is I can publicly talk about something that you did to me, and I'm not throwing a shot at you. I'm just telling my story, and you just happen to be a part of that story.
and you just happen to be a part of that story. That's what I'm saying, man.
Like
Yeah, that was
I,
well.
I'm
Yeah,
not
that was well put.
I'm not even mad at you anymore. I'm just telling my story, and you're a character in the story, and maybe you
Hmm.
did something that's not gonna have you painted the best way. But guess what? I'm painting the picture as I see it. So I mean, you did what you did.
Hmm.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
if I tell a story about a girl playing with my heart and she cheated on me, she did this, that, and the third. Why would you say that about me? I don't want people to know that. Well, I mean, it happened though. Am I
it
lying?
happened. Yeah, it
Am I-
happened.
So with you showing your emotions more through your music,
Hmm.
obviously there are people who listen to it and they may be triggered by some of that, whether it was a lack of that in y'all's interactions or there is a consistent lack of that. How do women respond to your music like this? Like the women in your life?
Yeah, I get different responses because 95% of the women in my life didn't know I was capable of this. So, these are the majority of the women I dated in the past, they didn't know this talent even exists. I didn't even know. So once I started doing it, I got different emotions. Some is wow, some is, I ain't gonna call it hate, just, let's call it mean mug. Some mean mug. So I get a rainbow of effects, man, honestly. But at the end of the day, it's still all love. Still all love. But there is I don't never drop a name or nothing like that. But yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, you get typical. But like, what would your ex think if you told a story about y'all on the platform? I get that typical response. So it's weird sometimes, and then sometimes they understand. Like it's no different from me writing in a journal. It just a lot of people might be reading his journal. A
I
lot of
like
people
that.
reading this thing.
I
Yeah,
like that. Yeah. So, but also like, and I want to stay on this woman thing, right? Because
yeah,
that's fun to talk about. We love women. Uh,
yeah.
when you make these Ladon love songs, as I call them, right?
I like that.
How does that actually like resonate, like with maybe the people you don't know, the women you're not who haven't
Hmm.
lived your off mic life. They just see you as the rapper and they hear these songs and they hear you really in touch with your feelings. Like how how does how do those conversations go when like that's the entry point?
It's weird because sometimes I'm getting adjusted to me being this artist. So when that comes, it's weird because it's like one minute it feels like they're asking me what do I do for a living, and this is what I do for a living. So it's like, okay, this is what I do for a living, and this is how this is how I do it. And then you get that same offset of like they just feel like I don't know, AC man. I'm torn coming out at midnight. You got
I like that one.
torn
Look,
coming out at midnight. Shit.